Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get started in about 5 minutes. If you guys could turn your phones on silent or off, that would be fantastic. We'll get started in about 5 minutes, so if you want to continue and finish up your conversations. Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, first of all, thank you for coming tonight. As you can see, if you've been to a sports banquet before, we've got quite a smaller crowd than usual. Come on up, Drew. We got quite the smaller crowd, but this is the first time we've ever had softball in the spring, so because of that, we now have two spring sports banquets. One that we had last night with track, and then tonight where we have the golf, baseball, and softball, our other spring sports. So you don't have any of the track boys or girls here, and that's why the crowd is so much smaller. But thank you for coming tonight. We appreciate it. The banquets are always a great time to celebrate the end of the season accomplishments of both teams and individuals. It's a great culmination and a great night to celebrate what we're able to accomplish throughout the course of this season. Here in just a second, we're going to eat. Before we do that, we've got the invocation that tonight is going to be given by Senior Drew Toombs. So, Drew, come on up.
Thank you all for being here this evening. Please bow your heads. As we're here today, we give thanks for many blessings. We are grateful to be here, able to celebrate our athletes and their accomplishments. Bless this food to the nourishment of our bodies. And in Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Drew. Okay, and now the part that makes me both popular and unpopular at the same time. After the head table goes up to get food, it will be tables 2. We'll go first. Oh, come on, that's all you got? That's it. There we go. You're welcome. Table 3 will be after that. All the players. Table 1, at least you're not last. And table 4, I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay, so without any further ado, head table going up. Yeah, it's going to be taking home a couple sacks. see the Golden State's favored 13 points tonight?
I think
13 points.
I think it might go five, but I wouldn't be shocked if it's less. I would. It might go five, but I wouldn't be surprised if it
I'm not a Ladies and gentlemen, can I have your attention, please? Cheryl Wolk, come on up. You don't have to come all the way up. Just come up wherever I can see you. Cheryl is the person in the room that you should envy tonight because Cheryl is working her last day in the cafeteria. She's retiring. This is it. This is it. May 31st is her last day. Cheryl's done a great job preparing banquets. How many years have you been the head of the kitchen back there, head of food services? 8 years. So for 8 years, all 8 years that I've been athletic director, she has done all of our sports banquets, preparing the food, getting everything ready for you guys, and that's 5 banquets a year she's done, and every single one has been fantastic. It has been delicious. She's had everything prepared nicely for us. So how about a nice round of applause for Cheryl Wolk? You were supposed to turn red and be embarrassed, but you're just making this no fun. Congratulations, Cheryl. Thank you.
Boom, boom. Scratch them all.
I need to be out of here by 7.
Not even calling her name. Not here, I'm not calling her name.
Just good coaching.
Efficient.
You know they're not here, you don't put them on a lineup card, right?
Right.
That's true. They were ranked number 1, weren't they?
He was at our conference we went to. We were just talking about that. 3 people that are in there, they're all there. Walton was there.
Oh, really?
White was there from Oregon and Washington.
They had some sweet looking uniforms though. Did you watch them at all? Their uniforms are sweet looking. Oregon's. Their pants are like they're not like baseball pants. They're almost like leggings, but I mean they look awesome. They make the girls look very athletic. They do. I mean, they show their leg muscles and stuff. You know, when they're pitching and their you can see their leg muscles and stuff. We'll get started here in about 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. If you guys want to go ahead and use the restroom or do whatever you need to do, we'll get started in 2 or 3 minutes. Yeah. All right. Um, Really quick, we already thanked Cheryl Wolk and her kitchen staff, but I want to take this opportunity also to thank our sports booster officers. They spend countless hours doing things like meetings and working concessions and scheduling concession workers and so forth, and they do it all on a volunteer basis. Those officers are Sandy Geck, Carrie Staffen, Kelly Solkowski, Tracy Helms, and Carla Bullock. I have to make sure I don't forget them. Nice round of applause for those guys. They're great. They do a lot for our kids, and again, they do it on a volunteer basis, so it's very nice that they do that for our kids. And thank you to the parents, those of you who worked concessions this year. We've always said that if every one of our parents worked a concession stand just one time, we would have way more parents than we would concession stand openings, but that's just not the case. It seems to be the same people over and over again. So if you did work concessions this year, whether it was once or multiple times, thank you very much for doing that. We appreciate that. Tonight's going to be a good night. It's going to be an emotional roller coaster for a lot of people because we're going to do a lot of laughing, I'm sure, as we usually do at banquets, but we're saying a lot of goodbyes tonight, so I'm sure there'll be some tears shed. I'm not this guy. I'm a brick wall. But if I made it through last night with Chris Warner, I'll make it through tonight too. So, but it's going to be a night of goodbyes, but at the same time, we're going to be able to celebrate a lot of really cool, really neat things as far as individual accomplishments and team accomplishments. I'm going to introduce our coaches really quick. I'm going to start to my far left. One of the goodbyes is going to be one of our assistant coaches here who is stepping down from assistant coaching for softball, and that is Mike Cook. To his right, this guy, if you've seen that poster with the cat that's hanging by one paw and it says "hang in there," that's Coach Toombs. He's the softball coach that's hanging in there. So assistant coach Russ Toombs. To his right, another one of our coaches who we're saying goodbye to tonight, and that is our head softball coach, Dennis Kreitler. And all these guys are stuck with me for at least another year or so. So to my right, we've got volunteer baseball coach Brock Kreitler. It's like before and after. That's what you got to look forward to right there. To his right, we have assistant baseball coach Kellen Bosler. If you've noticed, he's a lot better in green. To his right is our head baseball coach, Mike McDaniel. And to his right is being introduced for the first time at a sports banquet as Mrs. McDaniel, our golf coach, Rachel McDaniel. Okay, we're going to start with golf. So Coach McDaniel is going to come up and talk about our golf season. So it's all yours.
I'm going to make him do it. Well, not make him. He wants to. Does it matter which? Are they both picking me up?
Yeah, we should.
Okay. Well, good evening. I am Rachel McDaniel. I'm the boys and girls golf coach, so I do this twice a year, and this time it's for the boys. I have a lot of thank yous to start out with. First, the district for the opportunity to represent. We play, or there are a lot of schools around us that don't have a golf program, whether that's boys or girls, so just the opportunity is great. Mr. Nix in the athletic department, our schedule is always packed with great competition. When we needed to drop some tournaments this year and add better tournaments, we were able to do that mid-season, so it's great to work with an athletic director who is so flexible and understands how that happens sometimes. The SGHS faculty and staff, my athletes are gone a lot. Golf can't be played at night. It's not lit. So we miss a lot of school. Working with our faculty and staff here at SGHS has always been great, so I appreciate that. Chad Shilley in the golf course. We hosted sectionals this year, which is a big undertaking, and Chad Shilley and the staff out at the golf course and a lot of the members volunteered to run some positions for us at the sectional golf tournament, so I appreciate that. Barley Automotive, Mandy and Scott Barley for sponsoring live scoring through Birdie Fire. If you caught us at any point this year and you looked at our link and blasted it on Facebook or through email and you watched it, that is a great opportunity that we're now starting to see go statewide, where our athletes enter in their scores by hole by hole, and their parents or anybody else can get on the link and watch. So even though you can't be there, you can still be supporting the team. So I appreciate Barley Automotive sponsoring that for us. Sports boosters for the meal this evening and for everything else they do, and the cafeteria staff. My volunteer assistant coach, Brian Kime, it's my brother. He couldn't make it out as much as he wanted to. Apparently, the office is really busy when you're not a teacher. They don't just let you leave. So he made it out for a couple tournaments and was really helpful. Kyle Schweiss for marking in the postseason, keeping score so I don't have to, and I'm able to go out and coach in the postseason. My family, they're do or die. They'll drop everything to come out and support me still. So my parents came out when they could to help me run tournaments. My aunt and uncle had their first tournament debut in scoring, and they did a great job. Jason Biox and the Herald for his coverage, KTJJ, J98 sometimes, and Daily Journal. The Herald coverage makes us look like all-stars, and I appreciate that. As a former high school golfer, you don't get a lot of coverage, but you would never know that if you read our hometown paper. My husband, as obviously we both coach spring sports, and nobody understands how much you're gone unless it's another spring sports coach. So it's a lot of passing, it's a lot of sitting down and saying, hey, I'm going to be gone this day, but I'm going to be home this day, and there was like several weeks where I would be home, but he would be away, and we tried to make it back and forth, so I just appreciate his support through all of those things. And then my parents of my golfers. Golf is not a highly attended event. I know it surprises a lot of you, but a lot of parents don't want to come out and watch, but my parents do, and they're there. I mean, I can look out at the golf course and see not only one, but two, three sets of parents. I think at the district tournament, every single one of my golfers had parents watching. That's a testament, because it just doesn't happen. There are several golfers we see from other teams where nobody comes out to ever watch them, so I appreciate that. And then my players, you always make it wonderful and memorable. I don't coach except for you guys, so thank you for making it a joy. The season, this is my third season coaching boys golf, and it was a season of first. It was the first season I've had a team of underclassmen only, predominantly freshmen. It was the first season my rosters were filled with first-year golfers. It was the first season I've had JV players play in more than 2 events. Outside of golf, it was the first time I was blessed to hear the beatboxing and rap styling of Bryce Barley and Landon Lenny Rose. It's the first time I said, don't make me pull this van over. Thanks, Mom. And the first time I learned the extent of Siri's capabilities. There was a memorable hour-long van ride from Cape where I'm pretty sure the boys asked Siri everything under the sun, and I learned Siri will drop a beat if asked, but like most parents, she can't and probably doesn't want to answer every why question. It was a season of firsts for me, but it was also a season of firsts for the boys. Everything this season was a first. First qualifier, first 9-hole match, first 18-hole tournament, first match victory, first conference match win. Our biggest first and challenge, both for me as a coach and for the players as golfers, were unfavorable weather conditions. I think I can speak for all the coaches here when I say this spring was not ideal for outdoor sports. Specifically a sport that begins tournaments in the morning. It was snowing and windy with temperatures in the 30s when we teed off at the Jackson tournament this year. It rained for 2 hours at the Jackson tournament, right in the middle, and then the wind picked up. However, not once did my boys complain. In fact, some of them told me that they expected it to be worse. So, as a coach and a former player, I really didn't think it could get worse. So that just speaks volumes of their mental toughness, which for new to high school golfers is pretty impressive. As a coach, watching them meet and surpass team and individual goals for the first time was refreshing and promising. We beat our team goal of shooting under 200 by shooting 199 at a home quad match versus West County, Farmington, and Fredericktown to get our first conference victory over Fredericktown, and then turned around the next day and shot 192 to win our first home tri-match against Potosi and Arcadia Valley. We followed that up the following week by shooting 189 in a home tri-match against St. Pius and Perryville. I know I'm mentioning a lot of home success, but really, our last match of the season, we shot 193 away, which is a testament to our progression to break our goal even on an away golf course. This season was unique across the MAAA, as most teams either graduated seniors or are graduating seniors at the conclusion of this season. While we started fresh and young this season, some of our toughest components will be in the same boat next year. Not only was our varsity team comprised of only freshmen, they scored some key victories over teams of all seniors and juniors. These freshmen attended summer golf last season, which led to success throughout the season, and with continued work over this summer and fall, I know they will continue to make progress and see success next year. Our junior varsity saw some progress this year through 2 home matches and 2 tournaments away. I don't think either one of them are here, but I still want to talk about them. Both fairly new to the game, Justin Kent and Finn Kavanaugh both learned a lot through practice, but gained even more through their match and tournament experience. Their dedication and perseverance when you're learning the game of golf was impressive. I enjoyed working with them during our 2 junior varsity tournaments and watching them interact as a team. I know our varsity boys didn't get to see it, but they played in a scramble team event for one of their JV tournaments, and watching them interact and make decisions and kind of develop those things on their own without my coaching was really neat to watch. I look forward to working with them in the off season and in the future. Now I'd like to talk about each of my athletes individually, so when I call your name, please come forward. Justin Kent. Okay. Finn Kavanaugh. Okay, then let's go to varsity. First up, Bryce Barley. There we go. After Bryce's first couple of outings, he really seemed to grasp the high school competitive golf scene. I believe daily practice and the competitive natures of matches and tournaments worked well for Bryce's golf game. He's very reflective and will work on the struggles from a previous match or tournament in the next practice. He wasn't opposed to mid-round adjustments and could adjust parts of his game when needed in order to score. With a stronger focus on the mental game and continued hard work this summer and fall, I know Bryce will take his game to the next level and help lead this team to more success. Luke Bosler. Luke came into the season with lots of potential, which he began to capitalize on towards the end of the season. He's very cognizant of his swing and when things aren't working and how he can make small changes mid-round to smooth out the swing. Luke is also very reflective and takes his practice very seriously. He's bought into the program and into the game of golf and will only continue to reap the benefits as he dedicates himself to lessons and practice this offseason. I look forward to watching Luke continue to contribute to this team next spring. Freshman Zach Bird. Zach had a slow start to his rookie season, but came on towards the end with some focused personal goals. I admire Zach's ability to stay even on the golf course mentally and his supportive demeanor throughout the season, which I'm sure his competitors and teammates also appreciated. I know with some continued hard work in the offseason, Zach will continue to contribute to the team's success next spring. And last but not least, Landon Rose. He gone. Okay. So these are the 3 I have, so we'll give them a round of applause. Now to our team awards. I will be presenting 2 awards this evening, Spirit of the Game and Most Improved Player. First is the Spirit of the Game Award. Ben Hogan once said, "Your name is the most important thing you own. Don't ever do anything to disgrace or cheapen it." This award goes to an individual who embodies this quote in the spirit of the game of golf. This person has great integrity, great work ethic, great manners and etiquette, as well as a deep love and passion for the game of golf. His attitude and demeanor remained the same on the golf course despite how his round was going. Not only that, even though it was frustrating at times, he lifted up competitors that were having a bad round and remained positive for them, never showing his frustration at the slow pace of play. He wasn't just supportive of competitors, he was supportive of his teammates, coaches, and the program. I know last year's recipient of this award will be happy to know the legacy continues and the example he has set not only has been carried on by a future teammate, but by his brother. This year's recipient of the Spirit of the Game Award is Zach Burr. The last award I want to present is the Most Improved Player Award. Honestly, this award was tough because it was sincerely earned by everyone on this team in different respects. However, 2 individuals stood out when it came to overall growth. One player made a 13-stroke gain from the beginning of the season to the end of the season during 9-hole matches, breaking into the 40s for their first time all season, and another player made a 31-stroke gain from the beginning of the season to the end of the season during 18-hole tournaments, breaking into the low 100s for their first time all season. In addition to their stroke gains, both players made great strides in all aspects of their games. I think I was looking at stats. We're used to playing a 10-stroke limit. When we got to district tournament, the stroke limit disappears. As a team, we only took scores 10 or above 5 times. That's pretty great. So the Most Improved Player Award goes to Bryce Barley and Luke Bosler. Thank you all for your time. Have a great summer.
Thanks, Coach. Great job. And quite a young team there, all freshmen. That's impressive. They've got a lot of years left, and it's going to be exciting to see what they're able to do over the next few years. I mentioned that tonight was going to be a night of goodbyes. I had mentioned our sports boosters earlier and all the time that they put in and so forth, and they do so on a volunteer basis. One of our boosters, this is her last night as well. Tracy Helms, are you still here? No, she left. Dang it, I was too late. Well, Tracy has done a fantastic job for us. She's been a great booster, and with her daughter graduating, she is done with the sports boosters, and she even told us she's not even sure if she'll live here after this and what her and Matt are going to do. So I just wanted to thank Tracy for her time as a sports booster. Also wanted to thank Caitlin Kreitler, who's here tonight. She was my SBE worker the past 2 years, and for the first time in a long time, I had to prepare these couple of banquets pretty well on my own, and it really made me appreciate and remember how much she did for me as far as my assistant over the past 2 years. So I'll miss Caitlin. Thank you very much for all your hard work, and you have actually made me a better athletic director by showing me all the technology stuff that I didn't know how to do before. So thank you, Caitlin. All right, we're going to turn it over now to our baseball coaches, and I believe Coach McDaniel is going to do it. No, you're going to talk too? You're going to talk? Just Bosler, okay. Bosler's going to come up and start us off, and then Coach McDaniel will wrap it up for baseball.
Okay, thanks. All right, first off, I want to say some thank yous to some individuals out there who really made this year successful. I want to thank you parents for everything you do for these kids and coming out to support them throughout the year. You all are truly a big part of why this program is successful, and we thank you a lot for that. I also want to thank my wife for letting me do what I love. I know I can be very hard with a soon-to-be one-year-old running around, but she handles it like a champ. They're always there to support us, and I thank her for everything she does. I also want to give a special shout-out to Miss Kemper for all the delicious cookies throughout the year. So all you other moms out there, remember that for next year. We'll take anything, all kinds of treats. We won't turn them away. And last off, I want to thank you players for making this season a fun and successful season. We accomplished a lot this year, and that's all because of your dedication and hard work. The JV team had a successful season with 10 wins, 3 losses, and 1 learning experience. We don't really count the Festus game as a loss. It was like 19-2. So we'll just claim that as a learning experience. The one thing I noticed with this group is that they made large amounts of improvement as the year went on. They were never satisfied with where they were and always put in the work to make themselves better and also the team better. Our pitching and defense won us a lot of games this year, and hopefully that carries on in the next season. This group has a tremendous amount of talent and potential, and I'm excited to see what they can do in the upcoming years. Thanks again to every single one of you guys for a fun and successful year. I'm going to go ahead and call up, starting with the juniors, and I don't think he's here, but I will recognize his name, Zach Macklin. Sophomores, Keaton Boyer. Alex DeRouche. Jesse Kemper. And Kyle Kiefer. Those are your sophomores. And the freshman, Adrian DeRouche. Xavier Fleeg. Chayton Lee. Hunter Lawrence. Peyton Matthews. Cody Shilley. Nathan Selby. And Joey Weiss. And this is your 2017 JV crew right here. So. That is nice.
Oh, nice.
First of all, Peyton, that is a killer shirt. And the socks to match. Boy, you are a stud muffin. All right, I'm Michael McDaniel, varsity baseball coach. Like everybody else, a few quick thank yous here. Coach Nix, first of all, for everything that he does. I know the spring is a very, very stressful time for him with outdoor sports, especially this year is a little different than normal. Doing 3 outdoor sports, he has a lot to worry about. Luckily for us, having that turf really makes things a lot easier. To the technology department for all the tech help and everything that they do at our field. And on that note, too, Kyle Schweiss and all the student broadcasters for announcing our games. Any of you guys that have been able to tune those things in, too, some of the commentary is very entertaining also. All right, it's pretty fun. But the capabilities that they have allows people to watch and listen to those games from somewhere else besides being here in St. Genevieve. I know that my in-laws now over in Benton, Illinois, were able to watch our conference championship game on a big 70-inch TV or whatever it was and listen to it. They could experience the same things that you guys get to experience in the stands. So that right there has a lot of major local radio stations pretty jealous of the things that we're able to do, and thank you very much for that. Let's see, Jason Viox for all the hard work that he puts into covering our games. I know it's hard for one man to do as many things as he does. The guys at KTJJ and KFMO for all the radio coverage during the season. Big thank you to all the parents who helped the concession stand and have supported their sons all season long through the variety of temperature changes, precipitation, and probably a lot of wind burn as well. It means a lot to the boys, and it means a lot to us coaches here to see you guys in the stands braving the elements just as much as them, although I think you guys get to wear a lot warmer clothes. To all the moms, all right, I know that Coach Bosser has already commented on Mrs. Kemper's cookies, all right, and they're pretty phenomenal. Those double chocolate ones are absolutely amazing. Thank you very much. I was on a diet until then. But I want to thank you guys for all the snacks and everything you guys provided, especially for all our away games. It was like a feeding frenzy, handing those things out on the bus. Whenever they went back, you had to tell the freshmen, sophomores, sorry, but seniors and juniors get priority, and I don't know if the freshmen got anything. Sorry, guys. All right. Especially I think some of you guys really like the bananas and the oranges. I don't know. They favored some things over others. But the breakfast and everything that you guys provided in the morning, too, up at school, they really appreciated that. My parents for everything that they do to help the program, from all they do at the concession stand to cleaning out dugouts to supporting, not just myself, but all the boys on the team. There's not a moment that goes by where at least one of them is not at a game somehow. My wife, Rachel, she's always shouting out encouraging words to the boys. I don't know if I've heard as many encouraging words from one person as what I hear from her during the course of a game when she's able to make it. We both have, like she said, a very, very busy schedule with her coaching golf. And our schedules don't always match up, but the one thing about it is we always still find ways to make time for one another. And last but definitely not least, my coaches, Coach Gibson, Coach Bosser, and Coach Kreitler. Now, I appreciate everything these guys do for us, but I would truly be amiss if I didn't really say something about Coach Bosser. I'll talk about you a lot. But Coach Gibson. We truly are a team when it comes to coaching, and I can't thank all these guys for everything they do. But Gibby cannot be here with us this evening, all right? So I brought his shadow box with his jersey and everything in it to kind of have a presence, here at the banquet and everything. We tried to get him to FaceTime, but it didn't work out, and I don't know if it's just because of the phone that he uses. I don't know if it has those capabilities, or if it did, he probably couldn't figure it out anyway. But, no matter how hard I tried, he was not able to make it tonight. I think he's dealing with Alberto down in the Gulf of Mexico right now or something like that. There's a lot that I could say about a guy that's been by my side for the past 15 years, not just as a friend, but a colleague and also a coach. I've learned a lot from him, like the value of loyalty, honesty, and the importance of listening to others. I'll be forever in his debt for the things that he's taught me, and these other guys right here have a lot to do to fill his shoes in his absence. All of us will definitely miss his daily anecdotal emails, all right, and his weird sense of humor at times. So with that in mind, there's one story, and it happened this year, that I must share with you guys. This is probably the worst one that I've ever known about him as well. Apparently, Gibby, I think last summer went to like a froyo or someplace like that, and where they give you all the toppings and all this other kind of stuff. And I think that the lady must have asked him, "Hey, is everything all right?" And he said, "Oh, yeah, but where are the onions at? I wanted onions in my ice cream." And so I think she kind of looked at him like, "Man, this is some kooky old man," and just kind of laughed him off like, "Oh, okay, sir. All right." Well, it just so happens we have a manager that works at Dairy Queen. So this worked out exceptionally well, especially when Coach Kreitler said, "There is absolutely no way, dude, that you would eat ice cream with onions in it." So Gibby, being Gibby, said, "I'll eat it." Okay, time went by, it was pretty cold, weather finally warmed up, and our source decided to deliver the goods. She prepared it the night before. I think there were 3 or 4 scoops of onions that were put inside a blizzard, all right, and it was put in the freezer overnight, and it was brought to practice in a nice bag, ready to go, so he could experience all the deliciousness. Now, all of us took a smell, and were pretty much just completely grossed out by this blizzard monstrosity. Coach K actually tried a small part of the blizzard, didn't get any onions in it, just tried a little part of the ice cream, and I think just about ralphed. All right. Gibby took one sniff, and apparently he fell in love. He even decided after he took a few bites to prove to us that he was eating this, to pull a few of the onions out and show us, and then put them back in to tell us how much he really, truly loved this thing. So while the rest of us won't be requesting an onion blizzard anytime soon, Gary and Andrea, if you hear of anyone suggesting onion as a new flavor of the month, please ignore it and know where it came from. But it's things like that that we're going to definitely miss about Gibby, but trust me, I know with these two young guys right here, I have all that I can handle. All right, so let's get into our season here. We had a lot of returning guys this year, and their progression as players and young men were tested as the season went along. 3 years ago, this group started with a 12-14 record, to last year with a 17-12 record, to this year finishing 18-6 overall. I felt this year's group understood more about what it would take to have the sort of season they truly wanted to have. First of all, I'm sure all of them would agree that the first thing that they needed was a fire in the dugout for every game. Would have been the best thing to do. Next, probably an infinite supply of hot hands. And third, if we could move the season to June, they probably would have liked that as well. But it feels a lot warmer after the game with a win rather than a loss. So maybe that was their motivation, but who knows? No matter what it was, the guys I'll bring up in a moment had plans, and the only way they were going to get there was by believing in one another and being supportive of one another to reach their goals. They were able to attain most of their goals this season, but the fun they had together doing it all is something I know that they'll remember forever. The year started out for them going 3-1 in the St. Genevieve Valley opening day weekend tournament, and only progressed from there. Our defense was absolutely spectacular, pitching was on point, and the offense was good enough to get the job done. We encountered a couple of hiccups where we left too many guys on base throughout the season, but our offense improved from the last couple years to where our team batting average topped the 300 mark again. Out of our 6 losses this year, 4 of them were in extra innings. 3 of those 4 were by 1 run, and the final one was by 2 runs to Jackson. We finished with a regular season MAAA conference championship, received the number 1 seed in the conference tournament, won the MAAA conference tournament championship against Park Hills, and proceeded into the district tournament with the number 1 seed. Now, the district tournament didn't necessarily go the way that we had hoped. We picked a bad day to have a bad day. But we ran into a red-hot Potosi team that had won something like 14 out of their last 16 games heading into the district tournament. None of our guys had anything to hold their heads down about. Matter of fact, I'm not sure many of them actually know this, and they might, I'm not sure, but we achieved a number 8 state ranking in the final regular season Missouri High School Baseball Coaches Association poll, which is a testament to all the hard work and everything that they accomplished and did this past season. So without further delay, here's this year's team. If you could hold your applause until the end, it'd be appreciated. First, our managers, Taylor Matthews, Brooke Weiler, Sydney Eisenbeis, and Boston Williams. These ladies, yeah, you can applaud. Go ahead. Sorry. These ladies have to endure quite a bit during the course of the season. We like them to be at practice, all the time. And I think especially the younger ladies here figured out what baseball season is all about, because whenever they come in and you expect, hey, you're going to practice in the gym today because it's, 35, 40 degrees outside, and you're like, oh no, we have a turf field and the sun is out. We're going to make hay while the sun shines. So your sandals and your yoga pants and your probably t-shirt with a light jacket that you brought to school isn't going to cut it. So needless to say, the young ones had to learn quite a bit this year, but they had two great teachers, all right, in our two upperclassmen there with Taylor and Brooke. They do an excellent job of showing the younger ladies, how exactly everything works. You guys that handle, the electronics and everything, game changers, some of that stuff can be kind of tricky. So they do an excellent job of working that. And if you've ever taken a look at a baseball scorebook, that can be quite overwhelming whenever you first take a look at that. And so they had some great teachers, and these two underclassmen, Boston and Sydney, did a great job as well. Our freshman, Hunter Lawrence, Hayden Matthews, and also Nathan Selby. Talk about these three just as a group. These three guys have a lot of baseball potential with a pretty high ceiling. All three are great kids, and they showed a lot of promise on the mound, two of which are left-handed, which is nice. They all had a little taste of the varsity level, and I hope that they use this as motivation, because with a lot of hard work and dedication, I'm hoping that they can be contributors on a more regular basis next season. And if their game is anything, like I said, like Peyton's shirt, they're going to be on point next year. Sophomores. First, Keaton Boyer. It was hard to ignore what Keaton was doing at the plate during the JV season. Some might say he was pretty amazing, all right? Those of you that know his catchphrase there, especially one game, I think it was a JV game, he comes up to the plate or was in the dugout, whatever it was, and all of a sudden his mom decided to shout that out loud. And Keaton usually doesn't have a loss for words by any means, but that time I think he just shook his head. He was proud, that's what it was. It was a proud moment. We had to find a way to get him involved in the varsity lineup to help generate some offense. Keaton started off his varsity career with some big hits and driving in some big runs for us. One of those being his cousin. I remember saying to Keaton during one at bat, because there was a timeout, the coach was talking to the pitcher, and Brady, I think, was on second or third base, and they both came together, and I looked at Keaton and said, hey, how cool would it be to say that a Boyer drove in another Boyer? And they just kind of looked at each other, Coach, you're kind of weird. But next thing you know, Keaton comes up to bat, and he pokes one over in the right center field gap, and then scores his cousin. So like I said, those little things that really kind of make it for guys during the course of the season. Keaton finished up the year batting .263 with a small sample size, but I'm definitely excited to see what he can offer up next year. Our next sophomore, Sauce, Logan Gegg. The only guy who chose long pants at the beginning of the year when everyone else chose knickers. But I'll tell you what, I think it turned out to be in his favor, especially with all the cold weather and everything. He couldn't really get it going like he wanted to at the beginning of the year offensively, but defensively, you couldn't ask for a better third baseman over there. He's like a Hoover vacuum cleaner. He did an outstanding job for us and had some great quality innings on the mound, too, posting a 2.17 ERA and 1 win. So I'm interested to see how things turn out next year with another year of experience and him getting stronger in the weight room. Juniors, Brady Boyer. Brady started off the year a little slow, but came around toward the end of the season to finish with the second highest average on the team, and he also led us in stolen bases with 13. If his offense slowed down, his defense definitely didn't. Covering a large amount of real estate in the outfield, making a lot of hard catches made him look really, really easy. Although, tell you what, he also excelled at one other thing, something that takes a lot of practice: Fortnite celebrations. I don't know what all of them are or anything like that. I have absolutely no clue, but I'd see him just about every time that he was on base, and let me tell you, that was a lot. I didn't know there were that many celebrations. To honor, Brady's accomplishments this season too, we just finished our voting for all districts, and Brady was chosen as a member of the all districts second team this season. Our next junior is our next junior, Chad Dunsey. Let's just clap for everybody. Here we go. Chad Dunsey. Chad had a great year for us and has progressed quite a bit on the mound and at the plate. He's added a bit to his pitching repertoire and served as our number 3 hitter all season long. He led the team in average, batting .384, and even though his RBI total doesn't reflect it, he hit .457 with runners in scoring position, so nearly 50% of the time he was able to drive runners in. Chad had a 4-3 record on the mound, compiling a 2.49 ERA and earning all-conference second team and all-district first team awards. He's dedicated to his craft and is a true student of the game. After working hard to continue improving himself this offseason, I can't wait to see what he'll bring to the table as a senior. Our next junior, Chase Kohler. Once again, this year, Chase was a pleasant surprise. It's not always pretty, but he gets the job done, no matter what the case is. He filled a void that we had as shortstop for most of the season and even transitioned to the outfield for the other part. His versatility allowed us to have some flexibility with our lineup. Chase finished the year hitting .309 and having the second most runs scored with 17. I'm sure Chase would love for me to talk about the absolute bomb of a home run that he hit out at Fredericktown. And for those of you guys that don't know, the left field fence is about 260 feet away. Now, it did barely clear the fence, but I'm sure he'll tell you that it's in orbit somewhere around the planet. But in his defense here, the only reason it barely cleared is because there was a wire that was hanging probably about 60 feet above that fence that he actually hit, and then it dropped right behind it. Otherwise, I'm sure one of those houses would have been calling to get a new window after that particular hit. I was happy to see him at a couple of open gyms this year, which was really nice. And with that, he earned second team all-conference honors along the way. So I'm hoping that that right there will help him and come to some more open gyms this year, because the future is bright. Our next junior, Derek Morgenthaler. Derek had another outstanding year for us. He finished third on the team in average at .358, and in 94 total plate appearances, and as a leadoff hitter, only struck out 6 times. Serving as a leadoff hitter, it's a pretty incredible stat. He's performed in that role extremely well, and unfortunately, RBI opportunities aren't exactly that plentiful. With runners in scoring position, Derek actually batted a whopping .591 on the year. So if there were runners in scoring position, nearly 60% of the time, he was able to drive them in. On the mound, he led us in nearly every category: innings pitched, strikeouts, wins, ERA, and WHIP. Derek's a gamer, and his teammates know it. You can tell by the look on his face when he takes the field, and he means business. Derek's on-field accomplishments earned him all-conference and all-district first-team honors this year. Our next junior, Peyton Powell. Peyton came up big for us in a couple games early on, coming up and pitch hitting, and came with some really clutch hits. He made it hard for us to ignore his bat, so we put him in the lineup for most of the season, in which he hit a respectable .289 and .364 with runners in scoring position. Defensively, once we moved Chase to the outfield a bit more, he stepped in and did a great job playing shortstop. If he can get a little stronger in the offseason, he should see his offensive numbers go up, and we're hoping his pitching will be a little bit more consistent next year because he's got some absolute nasty stuff. So a lot of good things to look forward to with Peyton next year. Our next junior, Grant Staffen. Best defensive second baseman in the conference and our district, hands down. This guy is fun to watch in the field. Unfortunately, he doesn't get recognized for the prowess that he showcases with postseason honors because everything is so offensive stat driven. But once Grant gets into the cage a little more this offseason, I think he can have the type of year he's been dreaming of for some time. But until then, there's no one I'd rather have making a final game-ending play than Grant. I'm still not certain if he dives because he needs to or just because it looks good. No matter what, though, this dude is absolutely lights out on defense. Although he does keep telling me about how lights out he is on the mound. Maybe next year you'll get your chance. And our last junior, Sam Stolzer. This guy run or what? With Sam on the base paths, you have an offensive weapon at your disposal. He may not have a lot of time at the plate or in the field on defense, but Sam helped us out in many other ways. He's a constant threat to score a run and help win a ball game, and he did just that this year. Matter of fact, he led the team in runs scored for the season with 20 and finished second on the team in stolen bases, swiping 8. He's a wonderful kid and another one of those that you absolutely love to coach because of his work ethic, attitude, and love for the game. There's a lot of pop in that bat that he has, and if we can find a way for it to meet the baseball a little bit more consistently, it will only add another huge facet to his game. Next, our seniors. Our first one, Camden Rowe. Camden's another guy we utilize on the base paths quite a bit. The guy can flat out run. With him and Sam serving as courtesy runners throughout the season, I would have put our guys up against any team to see who had the best around, or the fastest guys. Camden did a great job serving as a positive influence in the dugout this year as well. It can be hard being a senior, not seeing the field as much as you want to, but he did it in a manner that was very becoming of a young man and serving his role in the team in a great way. They said if we had more of that, we will be much better off in the future, and he gives us a lot for the underclassmen to use as an example. Brian Selby. Brian will be heading to Illinois College to be a blue boy next year. I'm not sure how I feel seeing him wear all that blue after all the green he's displayed proudly the past few years. I call catcher's gear the tools of ignorance because there has to be something slightly off or wrong with a guy that wants to get back there and take baseballs off the face, chest, leg, arm, whatever it is. But if you know Brian, you know that he was born to fulfill that role. I wouldn't want to instill my trust with anyone else but Brian to control our pitching staff and a game. He did a marvelous job blocking balls in the dirt and throwing out runners at second, especially in key situations this year. His offensive production picked up a little from last year, but defensively, he was the key to us winning several games. Our next senior, Drew Toombs. Drew had a solid senior season for us on the field this year. He'll take his baseball talents to Lindenwood Belleville next year. Drew finished the year for us with a .358 average, 21 RBIs, and a .393 batting average with runners in scoring position. On the mound, he compiled an earned run average of 2.53, a 5-0 one-loss record, and struck out 48 batters in 47 innings pitched. He's a true competitor and wants to succeed almost to a fault. However, I'd rather take someone who wants to compete as badly as he does than someone that you have to pry it out of. Drew has had a very successful high school career, and this year was no different, earning first-team all-conference and all-district honors. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your 2018 St. Genevieve Dragons baseball team. And actually, I apologize. Troy Johnson was on my list, but I know Troy was not here, so sorry. Lastly, winning a district title is not an easy thing to do and eluded us this year. However, with the example our seniors are able to set, I'm confident they're leaving the right mark on St. Genevieve baseball for these and other guys to follow. Also, if there's a way that the Selbys could put their spike ball set, out to the field a few times this year, we would enjoy that as well. These guys have some mad spike ball skills. If you guys have never played it, it's amazing. What is it, Keaton? Amazing. That's right. Coach K and I have the best mad skills. But back to it, all the guys that are standing before you have a lot to be proud of. On behalf of all their coaches, thank you for a great season. Let's keep the ball rolling, continue successes of this year going into next. Good luck to all of you guys this summer in your Legion Ball seasons. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, your 2018 Dragons baseball team. We have just a few awards here. Our first award this evening goes to our RBI leader, and if you're listening closely, with 21 RBIs, Drew Toombs. Our average leader, once again, made a big impact this year, big improvement from last year, Chad Dunsey with a .384 batting average. All right, kind of our three big awards that we give out. Our first one, the Dirty Uniform Award. And if we didn't have turf, this guy would be covered every night. Their drains would probably be clogged at home from digging all the dirt and everything off of him. They probably have to invest in some Clorox bleach for sure. Dirty Uniform goes to our catcher, Brian Selby. Our Outstanding Pitcher Award. This guy led us in just about every pitching category that we have, and I'll tell you the truth, it was really, really hard to make a decision on this because we had 3 quality guys this year, and anytime we went and played other teams, they knew they were going to get one of our 3 guys. And these guys, like I said, day in and day out, did a fantastic job. But, I mean, his statistics overall, Derek Morgenthaler was our outstanding pitcher this year. And our last big award is the MVP. And we kind of had to think about how we want to do this because we have a lot of guys that do a lot of great things on this team. We had to think, though, you know, who's somebody that who has that competitive spirit, who has the ability to play multiple positions, and we came up with one name, and that is Drew Toombs. Drew is not only able to pitch for us this year, but I think he might have caught 1 or 2 games for us at the beginning of the year. Also played first base and third base, and I'm sure if we asked him to play the outfield, he probably would have done that too. All right, but ladies and gentlemen, that is all. 2018 Dragons baseball team, thank you.
Coach McDaniel wanted me to pass on to you baseball players and moms too that he has pictures. Pictures came in today for all the baseball players who ordered pictures, so you can grab those before you leave tonight. I want to make a note that I went to a lot of baseball games this year, and never once was I offered any of the Kemper cookies. So I'll be around next year, Miss Kemper. Don't forget me. All right. A couple more thank yous from me, and then we'll move on to our final sport of the night, softball. I want to thank our administrative team from district office all the way down for the support that they give, but especially the high school administration, Dr. Mercer and Mr. Haney. They have done a tremendous job, not only helping me with supervision, but also helping me with a lot of different things throughout the course of the past 8 years. And just setting the bar very high and setting a good example of what administration should be at St. Genevieve High School. I also wanted to thank our custodians at the baseball and softball games when they're all over and the popcorn bags are on the ground and the empty soda bottles are on the ground. Those guys, Brian Kreider, Dean Gamache, and their crews come back the following day or even that night, and they clean up and make the best facilities in the area look great again afterwards. So thank you to those guys for all their hard work behind the scenes. And with that being said, we're going to move on to the final sport of the night, and that is softball. And I believe Coach Kreitler is going to do all the speaking for softball this evening. So, Coach, you're up.
Good news and bad news here. Bad news, you got to listen to me speak. Good news is I'm the last coach to speak. Boo. Sorry, I got to put on my bent glasses that I'm pretty sure either one of my kids at home stepped on or maybe a big dog stepped on. At any rate, first of all, some thank yous here. I'd like to thank the athletic director, Mr. Nix, for everything he does for us coaches throughout the year. Ever since you've been the AD here, you've been great to work with and easy to talk to, and even when I needed somebody to talk to and vent about things, you've always been there and listened to me and helped me out. So thank you for helping me be a better coach and helping me. I want to thank the coaching staff, Mike Huber. Back in the day, Mike and I played softball against each other, and sometimes on the same team. We shared the same softball and hard work ethic on the field and off the field, and when Mike's girls came to and transferred to St. Gen, he had contacted me and wanted to help out with St. Gen softball. And I knew right away that he would be another person that would help spread the same playing philosophies that I envisioned. So, Mike, thank you for helping me as well as the team, and I hope you continue to do so. Coach Mike Cook, Several years ago, I mentioned that our community needed younger girls playing softball at an earlier age to get the experience to play at the high school level. Coach Cook stepped up, coached a 12U team over the summer, and when we had an opening here to coach at the high school level, it was great to get him on board. He's been such a great friend to me and just a workhorse at hitting ground balls and throwing BP. Thank you for helping me coach. Coach Russ Toombs. He made inside practices and conditioning so much easier for me as I really disliked him. I'd rather be outside. But Coach Toombs brought in so many small space workouts to our practices to help with our conditioning program on those inside days. And as a high school counselor, his way of speaking and tone helps our team not only softball related ways, but just helping and coping on non-softball stress as well. Coach Toombs, thank you for helping me coach and being a counselor to me at those times I needed to vent. I know you will do a great job coaching the softball program, and I will always be around to help in any way. I'd like to thank Jason Viox with the St. John Herald for covering the team, KTJJ, B104, and Matt King in the Daily Journal for following us. I want to thank Caitlin Kreitler for updating the softball website throughout the year. Dave, Julie Bova, Jennifer Heller, getting the concession stands ready for business and organizing parents working in the concession stands. And thanks to all the parents for helping out with the concession stands during the season. Tim Heller, Dave Grass, Dave Bova for coaching most of the ladies over the summer. I appreciate that. And lastly, I want to thank all the parents for supporting the Darters as well as the team throughout the year. Now about our spring season. So our spring season was short compared to the teams playing in the spring. Since our transition year into the spring season this year from fall to spring, we competed for conference and district during the fall, so we didn't play that many conference tournament games, or we weren't able to play in the district tournament in the spring either. So we still managed to play a lot of games in a short period of time because weather-wise, like Mrs. McDaniel said, it wasn't good. We were playing in sleet, windy, rainy conditions, and it was just miserable to play in. I'll start off with the JV team. We didn't get to play that many JV games as we had hoped because of the weather. We had to move around a lot of varsity games, played a lot of double headers with the varsity games and took away some JV games. And when we did play JV games, it was 3 innings at the most, maybe 5, and maybe against Valley we played a 7-inning game. So we went 5-3 overall, and you know that's a really good mark to start off with in the spring. For the varsity team, we played 23 games. Our whole roster changed as well as we had some players that played in the fall and didn't play in the spring, and we had some new places in the spring that didn't play that we seen in the fall. Just some fun stats from the fall to the spring. In the fall, we made 97 team errors on the field. In the spring, 62. In the fall, we batted 326, and in the spring, we batted 366. In the fall, we finished 11-12, and in the spring, 14-9. Second highest record since 2013, 15-game season win there. So the trend that our team was getting better. We played in 2 tournaments, the first annual Old Settlement tournament that we held here, and we went 2-2 and settled for runner-up in the silver bracket. And we ended our season in the Dexter tournament going 2-1 and playing some really good softball against some good teams. Overall, we had a very good spring, and a lot of players got more playing time in the spring compared in the fall. Now I'll introduce the team, starting with our freshmen. And most of our team's not here, so we're just going to call the ones that are here that we check, because really whenever I make out a lineup, if they're not here, they're not on the lineup. So we're just going to keep that rolling. Kaylee Gross. Kaylee played JV as well as 5 varsity games and scored twice and played some outfield. Kaylee's a hard worker, and I'm sure she'll keep working hard to earn more playing time. Tristan O'Reilly. Did I say it right? Orini? I'm sorry, Tristan. Tristan played in the JV games and 5 varsity games and had a 2-run RBI single versus Charleston in the Dexter tournament. She also scored twice, and Tristan's another hard worker. She didn't make the team in the fall, but she worked really hard to be a part of the spring team and progressed really well. Morgan Schwint. Morgan was one of our new faces of the spring. She played volleyball in the fall, and it was great to have her out in the spring. She's got all the softball skills to help this team in the upcoming years. She catches, throws, runs, all really well. She played in 13 games and batted .500 with 8 plate appearances, stole 4 bases, and scored 13 times, mostly as a pinch runner. She was used as a catcher in JV, and when I looked at the JV stats, Morgan, you hit over 720 this year. That's awesome. Think you can do that again next year? Okay. Cheyenne App. Cheyenne played JV games and batted .600 for JV and hit the ball really well, a couple of them right at the fence. She also played 6 varsity games and hit .333 with 2 RBIs, 3 runs scored, and Cheyenne played shortstop during the fall, but we needed some outfield depth, and we asked Cheyenne if she wouldn't mind transferring to the outfield, and she did a really nice job on the transition. Mariah Bullier. Mariah played in the JV games and got in the 6 varsity games and scored 4 times. Her primary position is second base, another hard worker, and continues to get better and better. Brianna Watts. Brianna played in 16 varsity games and really grew into a starting spot at third base at the end of the year. She had some issues with her swing that she worked on, and I know she'll continue to work on and get better. But she managed to put up some decent numbers, batting .353, 12 RBIs, 15 runs scored, and an .880 fielding percentage. All good, Watsy. Okay, well done. Brittany Kreitler. Another new addition to the spring as Brittany played volleyball in the fall. BK, what a freshman year. Played in 22 games at shortstop and second base. Batted a team high .482, 2 home runs, 26 RBIs, led the team in 34 runs scored, 11 stolen bases, 57 quality at bats, and 31 hard hit balls are impressive stats. BK did some, I'm out, I'm back on. BK did some pitching for us as well. She pitched 10 innings and won 2 games and had 20 strikeouts and did not allow an earned run. Well done, BK. The Southmores, Abby Heller. Abby played in 16 varsity games. She's pretty versatile. She can play infield, outfield, and has a plus throwing arm. She mostly entered a lot of games by courtesy running as we utilized her speed as well. She batted .231 with 2 RBIs, she stole 1 base, and she scored 12 times. Lexi Bova. Lexi played in all 23 varsity games as her catcher and did a fine job working and improving each game. Lexi threw out 3 runners stealing this spring and batted .255 with a home run versus Valley and 10 RBIs and 10 runs scored for the year. Lauren Piku. Lauren played 8 varsity games in the outfield. She did a good job fielding with no errors on the year, despite having some knee issues that she injured in the fall. Lauren batted .250 on the year with 6 RBIs and 4 runs scored. Alyssa Huber. Am I out? I'm back on. Alyssa just continues to get better and better. Pitching-wise, she won 11 games and lowered her ERA to 4.28 and eclipsed the 100 strikeout in the spring with 107. I believe the strikeout record is around 150, so more games next year in the spring, Alyssa, and another record could be made. More hard work will get you there. Offensively, Alyssa had a batting average of 418, 806 slugging percentage, 5 home runs. She set a new school record of 42 RBIs. And Alyssa, I was digging deeper into the stats, and you left 38 on base. So if you would have picked up half of those, you would have been close to over 60 RBIs. Just mind-boggling to think of. Well done, kid. Are we going to fix this? I'll just talk loud, I guess. So now the juniors, Sydney Ohlert. Sydney played in 22 games playing right field and then center field. She batted .467, 7 stolen bases, 26 RBIs, and 22 runs scored. And when Sydney hits the ball, it's just scorched. There were many times she hit a ball right up the middle, and I can hear the other team's coaches and players on the bench and even the fans say, geez, how are we supposed to field that? I'm glad nobody was in the way. Keep getting better, Sydney. You can put up some monstrous numbers for us next year. Now for the seniors, Caitlin Kreitler. Caitlin shared some time playing first base and DH, and Caitlin didn't hit as well as she would have liked, and maybe her little sister took all the hits away from her. But she played really well receiving the ball at first base. She worked hard on her footwork and digging the ball out of the turf or dirt to be ready for any throws her teammates would toss her way. She ended up with a .938 fielding percentage in the spring. Well done, Caitlin. And Sally Grieshaber. Sally had a nice softball season again. She played second base. She led the team with a .463 batting average in the fall. And you know what, Sally? You hit for the same batting average that you did in the fall. That's pretty consistent there, I would say. 9 stolen bases, leading the team with 23 singles as a slap hitter, 9 multi-hit games, and 24 runs scored. Sally's the last of our slap hit era, unless somebody steps up to try to try it, but it sure did work and put out a lot of pressure on our defense. It was fun to watch Sally scan the defense before she batted, as many teams had some defensive plans to defend her, but she still managed to get on base almost 50% of the time. Well done, Sally. Now for our award winners for the spring. The first award is the Most Improved Player. This year's winner was asked to do a lot in a short time to learn pitches, blocking, and receiving techniques as a varsity catcher. She kept improving and learning more in every practice and game. Our spring Most Improved Player is Lexi Bova. The next award is the Outstanding Defensive Player Award. She's pretty smooth throwing the ball, and she's going to be an awesome softball player for St. John going forward. Freshman Brittany Kreitler. Our Outstanding Power Pitcher Award is the award that goes to our best pitcher on the year. I've already talked about how well she's done pitching this spring, and with more hard work, maybe throwing 60 miles per hour next year is not out of the question. This award goes to Alyssa Huber. The next is the offensive player. She literally helped herself out in her offensive production to complement her pitching, leading our team in over 80% of our offensive stats, including hit by the pitch the most. Alyssa Huber. The last award is the MVP for the spring. She was our best hitter and pitcher. She's going to continue to improve because she's no settler. She always wants to improve. Is there an echo in here? Alyssa Huber. This is our 2018 spring softball team. I just wanted to say I enjoyed coaching softball for the last 10 years. My main goal when I started is I wanted to leave this program in as good or as better shape than when I started it, and I think I achieved it. I will continue to work with the younger generation of softball players with the Fury program to make this high school team better in the future. Thanks for everybody who supported me along the way. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Coach. And thank you, Coach Cook, for your years of dedication that you've given to the team the past few years. Thank you very much. You've been a worker bee, I think is how I explained to you when we sat down during your evaluation. You definitely worked hard and bought into what Coach Kreitler was doing, so appreciate you for doing that over the past several years. And Coach Kreitler, thank you for your dedication and your time. I think we figured this was year number 10 for you, is that right? Coach Kreitler's put in a lot of time into this program, and you know, over the past couple of years, he has, a lot of you guys are aware, has been a very big part of the development of our Fury softball program. We now have an 8U softball program that's competitive, fast pitch, in which my own daughter is a member, and my wife coaches. We have a 10U team. We have two 12U teams, is that right? And we have a 14U team. And this was something that has been missing in St. Genevieve for a long time. And if you don't think it's going to make our softball program better, look at the River Dogs. How many of you baseball players back there played River Dogs? Okay, that shows you right there. All right? And if we went over down there and asked the same question, you'd have the same result. So Coach Kreitler's done, again, he's been an important, basically the leader, the person who is spearheaded, is the word I'm looking for, the development of that Fury program. And girls are excited about Fury. It's neat during the school year to see the girls wearing their Fury shirts. They're going up north and playing in competitive tournaments with St. Louis teams. And they're getting games. And they're playing, like I said, fast pitch softball. So that will take some time. Our program is already doing pretty well as it is, but you're going to see a big improvement because of the time and the effort that Coach Kreitler has put in. The point that I'm trying to make is that Coach Kreitler, when he took over this program, he got what he got. And over the course of the past 10 years, he's developed the program and left it in a better place than when he got it. So thank you, Coach Kreitler. You've been a tremendous asset to our softball program. And hopefully before you retire, we can somehow get you back in when those 8,000 kids of yours get a little bit older. So, or maybe if Brock would help you out a little bit, for Pete's sakes. All right. So thank you, Coach. You've been fantastic to work with, and hopefully this is not the end of our working relationship. We'll be able to do it again in the future. That's all I have, other than just a few things. If you were an award winner tonight, if you got a plaque or a medal, or if you were all conference, all district, anything like that, any postseason awards basically for your sport, we need you to stick around for pictures out here in the commons up against the trophy case. Okay, so don't take off. We'll get you organized, get your pictures taken. Jason Viox isn't here, but we're going to get those pictures taken and get that to him so he can do the press release. Also, I've got 50-50. 50-50 winner, a whopping $33. If you have this ticket, bring it up here with you to claim your $33. 546867. 546867. Yeah, Mr. Kemper's got it. Yeah? Did you bring any cookies up here with you? You're not getting this without a cookie. Did he really? Oh, man. Coach Kryler was one number off. There you go. Thank you, Mr. Kemper. Okay, and our banner winners. Okay, so here's the deal with the banners. As you can see, the baseball and the softball banners are here. So if you win, take the banner with you tonight. If you don't win, don't take the banner with you tonight. Golf banner should be in soon. What I'll do is whoever wins the golf banner, I'll get your phone number or your parents' phone number, and when it comes in, I'll give you a call or shoot you a text and let you know you can come pick it up from school. Okay? So we'll start with baseball. Our baseball banner winner Sauce. That's what it says, Sauce. Congratulations, Sauce. Okay, softball. Alyssa Huber. And golf. There's about 10. Luke Bosler. All right, so Luke, I'll have to, well, you live in my neighborhood. I'll get that to you, Luke. All right. Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate you coming tonight. Hopefully you get home before the big storms hit. Do we got something? Oh, I'm sorry. Have a seat. Give me a couple more minutes. I forgot we were going to do this. We've got something that the softball girls have prepared for Coach Kreitler. So Bova is going to do the talking. Come on up, Bova. You want to go ahead and give me that medal too? And then, like I said, it'll take about a week.
Which mic is it? Which mic is it?
Yeah, I don't have to put my glasses on to read it.
Okay, sorry. My name's Lexi Bova, and I was fortunate enough to play for these two amazing coaches that are leaving us for the last 2 years. Unfortunately, it was their last 2 years. A little bit more unfortunate for them, I have a few things to say to each before they go. First, to Coach Kreitler. Not only have you been my coach for these past 2 years, in a way you've been my boss for almost 6. I babysat your kids since I was around 10 years old. Not only have I grown to love each of them like my own siblings, I've grown to see you as a coach and my neighbor, but as a great leader and a friend as well. And in the past 6 years, I've learned a lot from both you and your kids. From your kids, I learned the true importance of teamwork. I remember one night when I refused to get them the ice cream from the freezer. They surrounded me, and I'm gonna cry, I'm sorry. They surrounded me, and they started to move in. They tackled me to the ground, but they worked as a team until they got that ice cream. I'm not gonna lie, it was quite impressive. I learned the importance of patience and tolerance from you, because no matter what this team or those kids throw at you, you always stick with us, never give up on us, and you always push us to be our best. I'm sad you're leaving, and sad you won't be our coach next year. Sad that some of our freshmen and upcoming players won't get to experience your talks and your jokes. Sad that after 10 years of amazing coaching, you'll no longer hold the head title of head softball coach. And I think I speak for the whole team when I say it saddens all of us to watch you leave. But we thank you for all the time you gave us and appreciate you, even if we didn't always show it. Now to Coach Cook. I practically grew up around you. All through elementary, you were my art teacher, and to be quite honest, I was afraid of you. There was until one day that I remember very vividly. We were making a project that had to do with our ABCs, and it was quite difficult. And as you may remember, I have no talent when it comes to art. So one day, 2 girls made fun of my project, and I started crying. You came over to me and asked what was wrong. I told you, you sat down, you looked at my project, and you told me it'd be okay and helped me fix it. This was the first time you had to help me when I was crying, but it definitely wasn't the last. Every time I was at home plate batting and messed up, got hit, or was hurt, and I wound up on first base with my hands on my knees, breathing way harder than I should have been, and practically in tears, you always asked me one question, which was, "What's for dinner, Bova?" I would answer, and you would respond what you were having for dinner, whether it was tacos or leftover lasagna Maggie had made the day before. I'm not sure why you always ask me this or how it became so normal to me, but this simple question always made me feel better, and I never know if you understood how much you helped me these past 3 seasons, but I hope you do now. And I personally thank you for bringing the same heart from elementary into my high school softball career. And once again, I think I speak for the entire team when I say thank you for everything you've done for us. To both of you, you have meant so much to all of us. You dedicated your time, heart, and soul to this team, and we couldn't have asked for better coaches. And as they say, a great coach is hard to find, difficult to part with, and impossible to forget. And I assure you that neither of you will be forgotten by this team. Every season, you all say that we as a team are a family. And before I go, I just want to make sure that you know that you were the ones who made us a family. You make us focus, even when we didn't want to, whether it took throwing a ball while we were all in the dugout at us, making us run polls, or just screaming at us to shut up. So thank you for making us a family, and for one last time, all together, family on 3. 1, 2, 3.
All right. If you don't think coaches have an impact on kids, then that's Exhibit A that they do. So thank you again, guys, for everything that you've done for our program. And like I said, set it up for a great future as well. So I'm excited to see about the future of the program and what it holds. Okay, award winners, don't forget to stick around. We'll meet you right out here in the Commons up against the trophy case. You guys